Welcome back, YouTube. This is Uncle Soul doing a back-to-back initial thought on brand new shoes. Don't get too comfortable. I just came back from Hong Kong, so I was able to grab these for a decent price. These are currently pretty damn unaffordable. And I was able to get these with the launch colorway, the Dark Knight colorway. You can also get them in the Robin colorway. These are just gorgeous shoes, especially in these two colorways, so I couldn't resist myself. And of course, the JB3 being one of the best shoes in 2024, you gotta test the 25th version, JB4. Without further ado, let's talk shoes. Alright, disclaimer again, I have only played in these in 2 sessions, so these are just my initial thoughts. Cushioning, I mean, these haven't changed. Still the full length boom. They chose not to use super boom here. I'm not entirely sure why. Again, these are the full length boom. Very caged this time. Even more caged than JB3. The carbon plate inside is still 3/4. It's not a full length carbon plate like a lot of the other LiNing shoes or LiNing flagship. Only from about mid-foot all the way to forefoot. Gone is the crazy diamond shape, which really actually increased JB3's stiffness, but at a cost. They went with a more mild version of an aggressive plate in the JB4s. Cushioning is great, impact protection is great, bounciness of it is great, the carbon plate, CCDS, that's there. Definitely lower to the ground compared to JB3. I think JB3 was quite a heavy stack of boom. The JB4 I feel is definitely, you can feel the ground more. Traction. Before I get into details about traction, you can definitely tell after this session that I'm not sponsored by LiNing, and I probably won't ever be sponsored by LiNing. So if you want to keep seeing these initial thoughts or even reviews, support the channel, like and subscribe to the channel. Maybe even in the future I might start a Patreon. Okay, so on to traction. The full length crazy pattern returns. Very shallow GCU. It's the new version of the GCU. You touch it, it's soft, it's very grippy. On the court, there is no noise whatsoever, though. There's no squeak, unlike the Wild 12. So Wild 12 have a little bit of squeak. These have nothing whatsoever, but they're still grippy. They do attract dust a lot. In 2 sessions, one in a not so dusty court, the other one in a pretty dusty court. I had to wipe in both, especially in the dusty court. However, they do bite through dust. I had no problem with them even with dust on them. People were sliding. I was just it felt like cheating. So why would I say this is a problem? GCU on these things are not durable. It's not this one actually. But on this one, you can see I like to drag my medial side, and you can see right here, there is noticeable damage already in 2 sessions. So this is only 4 hours of play. And with how shallow the grooves are and the treads are on the JB4, another problem presents itself is that you bite right through the grooves and right into the bottom, the base of the GCU. Fortunately, it's just minor damages to the bottom layer of the GCU, but you can see that on the medial side and on the high traffic area, the microgridding is gone already. This is after only 4 hours of play. The microgridding is all gone. Again, when my detailed review of these comes out after a month or 2 months of play, and maybe I play in these 2 months just to see the durability problem, I'll update you guys on it. Maybe the microgridding is just crappy. Once that's gone, the GCU itself stays, because right now I don't see any tread damage, just the microgridding. But we'll see. Right now, this doesn't give me confidence on the durability side of things. Lockdown and stability. Now this is interesting. JB4 uses their new IBR technology on the outer shell. So you can see it's basically LiNing's version of the foam posits, but different than the Nike version, which is old. It was super heavy. Foam posits, if you've never worn them, they're tanks. These are light. The JB4s are super light to the feet, despite having an entire cage around it. And what's even cooler is that it's not actually one piece. This is actually 3 pieces. So this, and then the back, and then this side. You feel very safe in these. Stability of the JB4, especially with the wide flange and a wide base. This is very uncommon in the LiNing world, but a very wide heel and a wide flange. I mean, how stiff the IBR upper is. the stability of the JB4. If you ever feel like you're unsafe in a basketball shoe, grab these and you will never feel the same again. Lockdown, however, if your feet fits its shape, slightly C-shape, you will feel so safe in these because you will feel the stability, you'll feel entirely inside the shoe. Stepping comfort for the JB4 is amazing. Doesn't matter what size you are, unless you're super wide foot, then you'd be pinched. Once you start wearing them in a high energy setting, the IBR is a stiff and unforgiving material, just like all the foam posits. If you're narrow foot or slightly narrow like me, it doesn't grip you as hard because this thing doesn't close itself. For the foot shapes that don't match the JB foot shape or the foot mode, you'll feel shifting inside. Similar to the JB3, they're wide foot friendly. Not as friendly as the JB3s because the JB3's material were the, what did they call it? It's really just a TPU. It was softer, it expands, so it was more forgiving. These things, if you don't, you get a wide foot friendly shoe, but it will only fit as far as the IBR is able to expand. Recommend you go half a size up on 2E and 4E. These won't fit at all. If you can't fit the JB3s perfectly, there's a break-in period in the upper for you in the JB3s. Don't get these. Transition. For me, I feel like these are better than JB3s. JB3s are already an amazing shoe. There's no eversion. This one won't have any eversion either. I've tested it. The way that it's caged on the medial side basically straightens out your foot. I think Jimmy has made that point specifically to LiNing, because if you look at the new shoe versus the old shoe, really only the JB line has a very reinforced medial side. Even with the new Wow 12s and all the other LiNing 6 and whatnot, you don't see these kind of crazy caging on the medial side. The JB seems to be the only one with it. So maybe Jimmy has a knee problem that was caused by extreme eversions in his shoes before. I don't know, but that seems to be, this line seems to be the only one that really reinforces the support on this side. Interesting thing about this shoe is that normally a shoe with such a wide heel is not going to be as good for diagonal transition. With north to south movement, a ball-shaped heel, a low center of gravity in the midfoot, which you see here, north to south, you should never have a problem. And yes, the JB4s are perfect for that. When it comes to diagonal movement, where your heel strikes on the diagonal side on a medial step or a, let's move this out of the way, landing step, this is usually going to cause a problem because the heel is much wider than your heel. It's actually not this part where you strike, because this part where you strike, as long as the material is soft enough, which you see that in Wow 12s, you won't feel anything, or the Gammas, you won't feel anything. But as you compress this, and let's say that the material here is soft enough, and it forces you to come down, this is where you will feel the shoe. Specifically, you see that in the Kobe 8s and the Kobe 9, because this part is hard. When you land like this, the shoe immediately forces you to slap down, and you feel the existence of the shoe because the shoe is self-correcting. The interesting thing with the JB4s is that this is soft enough that when you land, it guides you to do this. It still forces you, but it is a much softer landing. And I think part of it has to do with the way that the rocker starts so early here, because usually you see the rocker kind of starts here. The rocker starts here in the JB4. And when it forces your way to go this way, instead of just slapping the whole shoe down, you're only slapping the midfoot down as if you're already transitioning. And then you're going into your rocker, your forefoot. So I think it's the ergonomic design of where the rocker is that actually creates this effect for the JB4s. Because otherwise, I can't really understand how a shoe with such a wide heel base, this is not exactly soft, right? Something that is still semi-hard and a wide heel base usually shouldn't give you that effect. It usually should be like a Kobe 8 effect where you just slap the whole foot down. With that said though, this is still a very freaking stiff shoe. The IBR and the carbon fiber plate creates a very difficult to flex shoe. You need a lot of strength to flex this thing. Fortunately, like I said before, the rocker starts so early, you only need to flex this a little bit for you to get into your steps. But it is a stiff shoe. So if you are someone like light forefoot player, you're not playing off the entire foot, you're only playing off your forefoot. Trying to keep this flex is going to cost you some fatigue. That's one thing to keep in mind. To conclude, the JB4s are a very interesting shoe. One of the sexiest looking shoe, I have to say. Leave your comment below you feel the same way. I mean, this dark night colorway, like I can wear out easily. But there are some concerns that I have that I need to test. The durability of the GCU, breaking in the IBR, I have not broken them in even after 2 sessions. These seems to be really stiff and really difficult to break in. Anyways, that concludes this review. Let me know if you have any thoughts on JB4s. Until next time, remember to stretch.